Welcome to the Golf Fitness Bomb Squad podcast with Chris Finn, a production of P4S Golf. What's going on, Golf Fitness Bomb Squatters? We do need to come up with a name for all of you that are hanging out with us on the regular here. Maybe we need to do a little social media poll or poll. Helps if I can speak. A little poll out there. I got the pool on my mind. You got summer coming up. My kids are all excited to go to the pool. So, but we may need to come up with a poll to figure out what is everyone called in the community here. But anyway, my name's Chris. I am your host, and today I wanted to talk about something that's become, I think, a little bit confusing for a lot of people, particularly when it comes to pursuing fitness for golf and how to get their bodies in the right spots, or rehab for golf. There's obviously lots of different places in the continuum that people enter into the space, right? Maybe you're coming off of a surgery. Maybe you just finished rehab and you're trying to get back to playing. Maybe there's like a transitional period where you're kind of getting a return to sport. Maybe you haven't had any issues, injuries, pain. You just want to play better and you want your body to get in better shape to hit the ball farther. Just thinking about longevity and just want to make sure that you're giving yourself every chance possible to play the game as long as possible, right? Whatever it may be. I think there is some confusion that I hear around, do I need hands-on work like massage therapy or physio or chiro? Can I just go to the gym and just do soft tissue work with, lacrosse balls and Theraguns and, whatever you name the soft tissue tool? Can I just use those instead of hands-on work? Can I just do strength and mobility work on my own? And is that enough? And I think the answer is all of that can work, right? And some people actually are like, hey, I only want to see, one-on-one physio, right? I don't want to do fitness or, class-based stuff. That's not going to be good for me. I only want one-on-one because that's going to be the best possible thing. And it's interesting when I hear all that, because those all come from places of maybe it's past experience, maybe it's something they've heard. Actually, none of it is founded really in any sort of objective research or data. And so I wanted to kind of just touch on the topic for everyone who may be thinking, maybe you're already in, working on your body, doing things. Maybe you're thinking of getting into it. But I just want to talk about some considerations or just some thoughts, hopefully plant a few thoughts in your head just to start to ponder. The first is a combination is always going to be generally speaking. I say always, then I say generally. For the most part, for most people, a combination of hands-on soft tissue work and fitness on your own, like self-maintenance, I say maintenance for mobility. So generally you'll do hands-on work to, whether it's expedite mobility, recovery, to help recovery after you work out, to help your tissue recover so you're not as sore, right? So you'll use manual work for that sort of a thing. You also can do that on your own, right? And I think using softballs and doing self-mobilization, myofascial work, those are great, what I would call like just maintenance. Like once you're to the point where you're happy where you're at, like just pretty much focusing on that is usually good enough. And then there's obviously the strength side of things and strength training, power training, speed training. The best in the world, and I'll start with the best in the world, and then I'll work to the rest of us amateurs out here. The best in the world do a combination, right? They'll use those of you who maybe are just starting to get into a program and have some significant mobility limitations, or if you have any sort of pain, you should 100% think about, I need some form of hands-on therapy, whether it's manual therapy from a physio, maybe it's from a massage therapist, whatever, somebody who knows what the heck they're doing and how to help you recover and regain your rotary centers. You 100% need that. And that will having manual work expedites how quickly you can get to the point where, hey, maybe I only need to check in once a month, once a quarter, right? Just to kind of get a little tune up. And really, you can do most of the work on your own with soft tissue work, right? With lacrosse balls and softballs. And, I think when we talk about mobility, there's the tissue level work like that. Then there's passive mobility drills where you're kind of just passively stretching and moving through motions. Then there's going to be active assisted, right? So it's you're actively moving, but you have something maybe helping you make that a little easier. Then you have the next level up is active resisted. So then you're moving through, but you're like pulling against something, right? So let's use your shoulder for example, right? Active passive. Sorry, passive is basically just kind of like somebody stretching you, or maybe you have your hand on a door hinge and you're just stretching like passively, right? And then there's active assisted, which would be I'm going to try to move my arm back, but I have a band that's actually helping pull it back. Active resisted would be the opposite. You flip the band the opposite way, and you got to pull against the band to go through that range of motion, right? So those when we're talking about mobility, there's the tissue level, there's passive, which is something else is doing the movement for you, and then there's active assisted, and then there's active resisted. Okay, and then there's actually like strength training, right? Whether you load it up, you're doing the motion, with heavier loads, trying to develop actually a strength response where the tissue builds. Maybe it's hypertrophy, maybe it's just force production, whatever it may be. And it's important that in order to maintain, you have to do all of that throughout that entire continuum. Now, you're going to do it at different levels relative to what's appropriate for you at this time. But you're going to do all of that. But then at some point, it's natural that we develop trigger points, and maybe you're playing a lot. You're going to tighten up on an area. Having somebody that you can go back to and say, "Hey, I need a quick touch up and a check in." That's how we use our physios at P4S Golf. Is once people have kind of quote unquote graduated from the regular weekly PT or whatever it may be, then it's this combination of fitness, a little bit of DIY. You have a coach who's kind of helping you move through the program and making sure you have what you need. But then you also can check back with that physio, that expert who can put their hands on you and say, "Oh yeah, that's a little tighter than it was. Let's clean that up before that becomes a problem," right? That's where you get into prevention. That's such the key for longevity. That's where being stronger helps, right? Keeping you, injury resistant. I always talk about having like armor around your body. The thicker that armor is, the more of a beating you can take. Well, the stronger you are, the thicker your armor is. The more mobile you are, the thicker your armor is, right? The healthier your tissue is, the thicker your armor is, right? So all of these components, the hands-on work, the soft tissue work on your own, the strength training, the power training, all of those things are building up your armor and ultimately increasing your chances at longevity in this game. And then I think the other piece is then this one-on-one versus group. I'm not a big proponent of like groups more than 6 at most. I am a big proponent of small group type things because I think you get a little bit of a community, social motivation to push harder. There's some bantering. It's more fun. It's got a little more stickiness to it for you to kind of stay accountable to the other people in the group. But it's also a small enough group where your coach should be able to give you customized solutions and programs and progressions for what you specifically need, right? Versus, I've coached a class of 20 people. Like it's hard to touch every single person and give them exactly what they need. When you got 4 people, 5 people, it's very easy, right? You have, "Hey, Johnny, you're working on your shoulder in this motion. Mary, you're working on your hip here. Hey, Bill, you got to do your shoulder, but in this different motion because that's what you need," right? And so I think when you're looking for a solution out there, look for a combination of all of those things, right? Maybe there's some one-on-one. If you can find a way to make a group setting work in a small group setting where you have customized programming, that works extremely well. And then I think always making sure that you do have some level of this one-on-one hands-on care to, whether it's you're starting there because you're just brand new and you got a lot of work to do and that's the quickest way to get you to the next level, or maybe you're already pretty good, you're working out on a regular basis and that's just a way to augment what you're currently doing, help you stay ahead of any injuries that may be kind of lurking in the background, and honestly enhance even more so the work that you're doing. It's kind of like a little steroid shot. Every time you go and get some hands-on work, it kind of like just jumps you forward a little bit more. So this was something that had come up earlier this week, and it was interesting just how confused the people I was at a charity event and golf tournament, and talking to people, they were asking me what I did, and they're saying, "Oh, I only do one-on-one. Oh, I only do big group. I don't do strength, or I only see my chiro, or I only see my physio." Like everybody was like just so committed to one thing. And they were like isolating, like, "This is the only thing I do. This is what I do." Like honestly, like you should do a little bit of it all. Like throw some yoga in there. Like, people who only do yoga are missing a lot of strength. People who never do any mobility are missing the mobility side. People who only do hands-on work are not getting the load, right? That's kind of like the same as the yoga situation. You're not getting the strength and the power and the movement, right? And so I think you need to have a well balanced, comprehensive approach to be successful here. And success is defined as playing this game for as long as possible at whatever level you deem enjoyable, right? The highest level that for you, which is going to be the most enjoyable level. If you've shot par for 20 years, going out and shooting 100 ain't fun. You're not going to want to play, right? If you've shot in the 80s your entire life and now all of a sudden you're shooting 100, that's not fun either, right? So I think it's important to make sure we maintain our bodies, make sure we maintain the mobility and the distance and feeling well, so we can continue playing this game as long as we possibly can, and have fun with it. So hopefully that helps to give people an idea of which types of approaches work. I'm a big fan of a comprehensive. You may have some periods that are higher in hands-on, some periods are higher in DIY mobility, like rolling and that sort of a thing. Maybe you're in a period that's a little higher in the gym and getting stronger and that sort of a thing. But ultimately, you never should have a point in time where you don't do one thing. You should always have elements where you're maintaining contact with all of those approaches. So hopefully found that helpful. Thanks again for hanging out on the Golf Fitness Bomb Squad. Hopefully we diffused a few false beliefs here today on the best way to approach this, playing this game a really long time, because it's important that you guys know the truth and really the best ways to go after it. So thanks as always for the time, and we'll catch you on the next episode.